All right, except for I can't get there. Okay. It is number 96.
Okay. Oh, we skipped over Blade Runner because we've already done that,
yeah.
and I already tagged it. This is all going to get cut and edited out.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome once again to Editing Academy. I'm Darryl.
I'm Laura. You remember the clap?
I did.
Nicely done.
I'm very proud of myself at this
crap
particular
out of me,
moment.
but yay.
All right, so this is a segment of the going through the AFI Top 100 revised list. We've talked multiple times about our questioning of some of the films on this. We can dive into that. But the one we're here to talk about this time is Do the Right Thing. Produced, written, and directed by Spike Lee. Ensemble cast. This was a lot of people at the very beginnings of their careers. So it includes Danny Aiello, Ossie Davis, Ruby Dee, Richard Edson, Giancarlo Esposito, Lee himself, Bill Nunn, John Turturro, John Savage, and it's the feature film debut of Martin Lawrence and Rosie Perez. And I have a fascinating fact about Rosie Perez, if you don't already have that. Was nominated for tons of awards. I'm not going to go through them all. The only thing for Academy was Danny Aiello was up for Best Supporting and Original Screenplay, did not win anything, but it was nominated for things like Society of Film Critics. It was nominated at Cannes, Chicago Film Critics, Independent Spirit Awards, Golden Globes, Los Angeles Film Critic, MTV MTV Movie Awards, which back in that day was actually a legit.
It was a thing. Yeah.
So all of that. Do you have fun things and a summary?
I have a summary. On the hottest day of the year, on a street in the Bedford section of Brooklyn, everyone's hate and bigotry smolders and builds until it explodes into violence.
It's accurate, but
Yes.
misses a ton.
It does, but I think it kind of has to in some ways. So a couple of fun facts. But my favorite fun fact, actually, I'll stick with this because one's on Rosie Perez, so I'll let you do that one. One of my favorite fun facts about this is at the 1990 Best Academy Awards, Kim Basinger was up there talking about the Best Picture nominees, and she went off script. And she said, basically, we have 5 great films. All of these films tell the truth. The one that tells the most truth is Do the Right Thing, that was not nominated this year.
Good for her.
And the camera, immediately went to Spike Lee, and he was clearly very pleased. He didn't have anything to write on, so he takes the back of his governor's ball tickets and writes something to the effect of, and I've seen the note, thank you, Kim, that took a lot of courage, and signed it Spike Lee, and she still has that.
That's
and basically said, pass it down, and they passed it down in the in the auditorium. The other thing that I just love is, as you all know by now, the Knicks have won the NBA championship, and courtside seats side by side were Spike Lee and John Turturro, who are still very, very, very good friends.
Yeah, and Spike is like he has courtside.
Oh, he's Mr. Knicks. Yeah, exactly.
It's not a fun fact, but this was Rosie Perez's first film. This was 1990, where they didn't have coordinators for the intimacy scenes back at those particular times. There's the scene in there where she is completely naked and Spike takes ice cubes at various points in her body. She had said multiple times, both during and after and over the years, that she was incredibly uncomfortable. She did not feel safe. She did not like that environment. But she didn't know, one, because she was new to it, and two, they didn't have intimacy coordinators. She didn't know how to do anything. But during the filming of that, she is literally crying while they're filming it. And Spike actually stopped it a couple times to let her regain composure and try to make her feel better and safe, but couldn't really in that moment. The two of them have talked publicly. He has absolutely said, I should have handled that better. It, I think this is only his second film. And I was still discovering things. It was important to me to have that in the film, but I apologize that you had to go through that. And they have since, become good friends, they've reconciled, but it's an example of, not everything is always that amazing. Even though a film can be beautiful. Yeah,
there's definitely some behind the scenes things that, and yeah, I've heard that story as well. And again, it's the art versus how the art was created is always a challenge.
All right, I'm going to come out with a lot of love for this movie. I loved it the very first time I saw it. I've probably seen it 5 or 6 times. Maybe this is my 6th since. I will, however, admit that this is a very much movie of its time. It would now be, I think, kind of a period piece.
I think this movie could be made today. I absolutely disagree.
Okay.
So that would be a good conversation to have.
The reason I say that is in particular because, not because of the costuming, but also the language that was used. The language is very much 1990s language and slang and vernacular and things. That's why I say that it becomes a dated thing. I think these people, these characters, that environment, that street exists today somewhere in New York. It's the costuming and the language that is the thing that's dated for me.
Certainly the costuming, I don't think the language is terribly dated. I think that the words and the language are being used today every bit as much as they were in the time, and I think the events of what happened on that street happen every single day in America.
And I'll be super clear, it's not the story, it's the language and the characters.
Yeah.
Like, you don't hear people talking around going, that was whack, you just don't hear that.
Okay, that I would give. I thought you were talking more about the slurs.
No.
Okay, all right, yeah. I agree with you on that. But even so, I think if you were to change the costumes, the story itself has not aged a bit.
No, and that's not. So I want to be super clear. That's not what I'm saying.
All right.
It's the costuming and the vernacular that is being used that does give it a bit of a dated effect.
It does, from the colors and the very Fresh Prince of Bel-Air kind of costuming. Okay, I'm with you.
From the very beginning, the opening credits, you are shown that this is a different movie than you're used to watching. It is going to be black-centric, black-focused. Even though it still is very much encompassing of a lot of different things that are happening in this particular neighborhood.
Yeah.
Things are very much divided by racial lines, and not ultimately it gets to a negative point, but not necessarily like everybody's understands and accepts that, but everybody still kind of gets along at least a little bit in the neighborhood because it is about the neighborhood, even though things are divided along racial lines. And I like that because it's definitely handled to be able to portray that it is not, we hate the Koreans and it's not that.
It is and it's not, because I mean the perspective is, it has every perspective you could have, because there were people that did hate the Koreans, there were people the Koreans hated, and there were people that so like there was hate and love for everybody of every type. Correct. But it was almost like a macro hate love. On a micro, this person, there was more like, oh yes, I hate that group, but I like this person. And so I kind of liked that every perspective you could possibly have was encompassed in this very small world.
And in the hands of a different director, and I don't even necessarily mean another black director, I don't think could have done this the same. Like the understanding that there's a difference between Dominicans and Jamaicans. Like in other hands, it would just been a black guy.
Yeah.
And so to understand that the three guys that are hanging out on the corner
are very different people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they love each other, but they're constantly ragging on each other, but they come from very different backgrounds, but this is their environment. But on the surface, they're black.
Well, and that's the thing. So you have multiple races. You have multiple, you've got different genders. You've got the age divide, too.
Yes.
The Ossie Davis and the guy who's going after him, I forget his name. There's all kinds of different conflicts that are happening all the time.
Yep. One of my favorites is Radio Raheem when he's driving back, and I don't remember the very specific ethnicity of the folks that are on the stoop, but they have the music contest where they're like, "Nah, man, we're gonna," and they both turn it up, and then respect given where it's due. Yours is louder, man. You got it. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Go right ahead.
Salsa music versus
I like little moments like that. I think were great. I also like the moment where the white guy with, of course, a Larry Bird shirt.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
John Savage, not just a white guy. It was John Savage. Yeah.
Scuffs up the sneakers, and they're all confronting him, and he's like, "I was born in Brooklyn." They're all like, "Oh, that doesn't matter, dude."
Not in this neighborhood.
Yeah, and then you have moments where it's completely overt. John Turturro's character has a deep, I'm going to say borderline hatred for the neighborhood that he is in.
Why would you say borderline?
because he still talks, he still interacts, even though he's, I don't know. I say borderline because I was trying to be kind, I guess.
I think he's a straight up racist.
Yeah,
who
he is.
He hates
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
about it. He's doing it because his father tells him to.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct.
That's all right,
I was trying to be kind, but
yeah, no, he's a horrible person.
yeah. And
He hates his brother. He hates the place he's in.
he hates what his brother's
place.
doing, and he's the older brother who wants the respect that he believes he deserves,
Right.
but does not.
Yes, exactly.
He doesn't understand his father's mentality. When the mayor comes in and gives him $1 to sweep the walk out on the front, he doesn't understand why he would do that. Like the constant questioning, and he essentially is a fill-in for a lot of things.
There's no kindness to him at all.
No.
Especially like the guy who has some special needs. He's so awful to him, and there's no need for him to be.
No, he has a lot of his own issues that are boiling out to the people in the neighborhood that they're dependent on.
Yes, exactly.
Which is obviously one of the through lines of the show. Like I like that it was a good choice, I think, that the catalyst for the anger, the boycott Sal's, that ends up boiling over later, is because the people in the neighborhood who are paying the money made a request.
Yes.
And that's a valid request to make.
Yes.
It's also valid that the owner of the shop is like, it's my shop, I'm not going to honor your request. Both of those positions are valid. One I think is a little stupider than the other, but
Fair.
they're both valid. My shop, my rules. Well, if you go down that route, then something like a boycott might happen, because you do kind of have to honor what your patrons want themselves. And he's like, no, that's not going to happen, which is the catalyst that allows all this to boil.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the setting of it being the hottest day of the summer,
Exactly.
where tensions are correct, that small things become far more important than bigger things, and then those bigger things become even bigger things. I just like how this is written and then portrayed, of the story of everything just building to the moments at the end.
And I love too that it was, kind of when they went after the store, it was Mookie who did it.
Yeah.
It had to be. And I love that it was.
Yeah.
And you understood why he did it.
Do you? Because there's a lot of debate
Yes.
over why he did it. Did he do it to actually save Sal? Because by having the intent, because everybody's focused on Sal at that moment.
I think he's angry at Sal that his friend is dead, and I think it was out of revenge.
See, I don't necessarily buy that. I'm not saying that's not accurate, but I'm not buying it. There was an argument that I saw years ago, which is one that I tend to lean towards most. I don't think he's angry at Saul. I think he's angry at the situation and his
More so the situation. But...
and his friend's death, because it wasn't this person who did it, it was the police who did it. And the community is taking out their anger on this person. I think he threw the garbage can through the window to direct the attention away and towards property.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think he was angry at Sal, and I think that Sal was in some ways responsible, because if he had not, he started the violence. He is the one that busted up the radio with a bat.
Correct.
He started the chain of events that led to, yes, he did not kill this man. He absolutely didn't. But he is the one that started the chain of violent events. And he didn't have to.
No, he didn't. He absolutely did not. But
so
again,
you can understand why there was anger. And also there was anger because, again, it's their friend died and they have to put that somewhere, and the police are gone from the scene right now, and they got to put that anger somewhere.
Yep. And also a different version of Sal comes out in that moment. Up until then, he had been very respectful, interacting, helping, and then you see, the racist language that comes out of his mouth in that moment. The community sees
that had
a
been
different
there
side.
all along.
Yeah, and so they see a different side of this person that they had probably genuine good feelings for. The community, when he's trying to do the boycott, they're like, hell no, I was raised on Sal's.
And he has genuine good feelings for the community. He talks about this community was raised on my pizza, but he also talks about His pizza place is there because he can't make it work in his neighborhood, because there's too many pizza joints in his neighborhood. So make no mistake, he is there because it's profitable.
Sure.
You know, yes, I love it that everybody's, you know, I feel good about what I'm doing in the community, and he has shown lots of kindness. But he's also, you know, he's not a philanthropist by any stretch.
I like also, and Spike does this in a lot of his movies, not some of his more Hollywood movies like Inside Man, which is still fantastic, but the ones where he kind of uses his own voice more, where he breaks and has people talk directly to the camera. And there's a bunch in this movie that are incredibly clever. One is everybody giving the racial slurs about everybody else direct to the camera. The other is also Radio Raheem's speech about love and hate, where the camera switches, so you're seeing it from Mookie's perspective as you're being explained, and we're now a stand-in where Mookie, as that is being explained to us, so it's technically breaking the wall because he's talking to the camera,
but it's switched it. And you know that a lot of that speech comes from another movie, Night of the Hunter. With Robert Mitchum with the tattoos.
Adapted for this specifically, but yes.
Yes, which I thought was very, very clever as well, because it fit the circumstances incredibly well. But kind of getting back to Mookie and Sal and everybody in this movie is there are no good guys, bad guy. There's John Turturro's bad guy. There are lots of characters who are very gray and who have good parts of them and bad parts of them, and I think that's reality.
The mayor is a great example. Is he a drunk? 100%. He spends his days drinking and being drunk on the street. But he's a good person.
He's the one that tried to save Sal. He's the one who's like, get out of here, you know, and helped him and his sons get away.
And he also saved the kid.
So, but I think when we're talking about like Sal and who was trying to save him, I don't think it was Mookie. I think it was the mayor.
One thing, I've always enjoyed Spike Lee, even some of his films that are not as good. He has, even his Hollywood films have a style to them that is undeniably his, which is hard. A lot of directors you can cut and paste and it's fine. There are a couple, obviously, that when a movie starts you know who it is. But in particular, where he is using his own voice and really has something to say. And he talks about this all the time. First and foremost, and I'm speaking as him. First and foremost, I'm a fan of film. He's like Tarantino level nerd. Like he just loves film. So when you talk about the Robert Mitchum and the love and hate, it's not surprising that he would be able to pull a reference like that and adapt it because again, at the core, he's just a lover of film.
Getting away from the story and more into the film structure and the way it was filmed. Agree. You know from the moment that this is a Spike Lee movie. You know, if you haven't seen it before, and I know it was one of his first ones, but the camera angle, I love all of the, like there's so many shots from below, there's so many shots that are off kilter to the side, and all of those are, it puts you on edge, and it you know, kind of is disoriented in the best possible way, and I love it, and it is so, just so innovative and so clever and creative.
And what I like, I mean, taking this film aside, a lot of times you'll have a director, you know, they've been thinking about something for 20 years and how they're going to direct their movie, and they get their shot and their movie's awesome, and they got nothing in the tank after.
Yes, oh yeah.
Not Spike.
Oh, no, not at all. Well, one of my favorite scenes, I love this, I've watched this several times, one of my favorite scenes is when Sal is flirting with Jade. And so you've got the Sal flirting with Jane, you're seeing that from a couple of different angles, and then you see Mookie see it, and then you see Pina see it, and then you see, you know, them flirting again, and you're totally picking up on it, and the big eyes, and the what the fuck, and just, it's wonderful. I love that whole sequence of just the way he used the camera.
Yeah, and you're right. The way he uses the camera is to give you different perspectives. This is not a singular story. You have a character that you follow for most of this, which is Mookie, obviously. That's your through line. But this story is told from so many different perspectives, using angles to reinforce that it becomes a story of the neighborhood rather than just an individual's story. And that's hard to pull off.
It is, and when you're looking at the neighborhood, just like such a rich cast of characters, because some of them we only see a little bit of, and we know who these people are. So, and just I love too that you've got, you know, Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee, who are just royalty, Hollywood royalty, and the parts they're playing are so interesting and different and complicated. And then you've got, like you were saying, Rosie Perez and Martin Lawrence and all of these new actors. I would say even John Turturro was probably coming up at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't his first thing. And you've got some of these actors that are just starting on the trajectory, and he grabbed them all at the right time. And this was not I pick on Quentin Tarantino all the time because he is not a good actor. Spike Lee is a good actor.
Yes, he's not amazing, but he is good.
I think in this role he put himself in, and I did not see a difference between his caliber of acting and anybody else in there. I thought he seamlessly was part of the ensemble, and you can't say that about a lot of actor directors, and I say it about him every time I see him.
Yep. I will agree with that. In some of the later movies where he inserted himself, he's up against some people who are, I'm just going to say, at a higher quality or higher level, so it's a little more apparent. But you're right, for this, the only scene where I would say it was a little awkward and he seemed outclassed was after you cut to Saul. The building has burned, and Mookie's asking for his money, and Saul throws $500 in his face, and he's just boiling and seething with anger at this. That scene, I don't think he lived up to the intensity of Dan Aiello, but in every other scene, I'll give it to him.
I think he did because he wasn't that intense, because he had blown it all off the night before. So I think he was back to Mookie in that scene, and Danny Aiello was still enraged.
Okay.
So I think that it showed him kind of coming down to being the same guy that he was that we'd seen the prior day. But yeah, Danny Aiello in this was spectacular. The only thing I'm sad about is I love that he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I think he deserved it, but I think Ossie Davis did as well. And in a movie like this, it is a shame that they chose to give the white Best Supporting Actor nomination rather than to Ossie Davis.
Yeah.
Both of them I would have supported.
I have nothing else except for a question for you. We've talked about this with some of the other movies on the AFI revised, where they end up being a stand-in rather than deserve it on their own merits.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you, do you think this film deserves it on its own merits, or do you think this is a stand-in for like black movies of the 90s?
I think this deserves it on its own merits. I think this movie stands alone as this is a one-of-a-kind movie.
Yeah.
And that this should be on the AFI list, and if Spike has 5 other movies on the AFI list, we'll watch them all individually, but this one as a film deserves to be honored.
I 100% agree. I don't think this one is a stand-in by any means. I can see the people, because I've been having some serious issues with the AFI list, I can see the selectees going, yeah, okay, we'll do The Right Thing. It's the best of all the black 90s movies. I can see them doing that. But even if that was how it got here, it still 100% deserves to be here on its own.
I think even in the time it was recognized. I mean, not by the Academy, but I think even in the moment it was recognized as a great film.
Yeah.
So I think that they did the right thing.
I see what you said there.
Thank you. Yep.
All right, I have nothing else.
Nope, all good.
All right, do The Right Thing. If you have not seen it, where have you been? Go watch it. See ya.
Bye.